Quadri, and in today's class, we'll be talking about introduction to web development. Basically, everything about the course we're taking currently is under web development, and we have to understand what it actually means. So, first of all, I would already opened a tab here just to search for what is a website, and I get this result here. A set of related web pages located under a single domain name. I know it sounds like just gibberish if you don't really understand what a website is from the beginning. And a web page is a hypertext document connected to the World Wide Web. Okay. So I created a diagram already for that. So originally, when websites were thought of, like when the creator of the World Wide Web thought of a website, they thought of something called a markup language. That's a hypertext markup language called HTML, and it was used to build websites. And a website basically is the combination of different pages that were created with that hypertext markup language together. That's what a website is. So what we'll have to just try to break down is what exactly is a hypertext markup document. So back to the website here. So I'll be using CyberSquad's website for that. Now, if we look at this whole website, it's basically a combination of the markup part, which is the HTML, and that's the text version, the text part, sorry, and the buttons, the images, and some other few things. All these come together to form this web page, which can also be called a website, because there are different types of website. You can have a one-page website, you can have a dynamic website, a static website, you can even have web applications. So, and how they work is simply by those files are actually on a computer somewhere. So this diagram explains something like, okay, we have a server, and a server is that computer that hosts our website, because we notice that wherever we are in the world, whenever we search for a certain website, if we have the domain name, which in the case of CyberSquad is the cybersquad.com.ng, and if you can search for that in your web browser, which is the client. So your browser is the client. Now back to this diagram. Your client searches for the website it's looking for, and fetches it from the server. So, but normally there are some other things that are going on underneath, which I don't want to complicate things with. But what basically happens is when you search for a website, your browser locates where that website is somewhere in the world and fetches the file from the server. So that's why we have the diagram going to and fro, because the website is being fetched from the server and you are seeing it from your client, which is your browser. You understand? So that's basically how the websites load. So if I would break that down a bit more. Now, for every website, there's something called front end and back end. Or you might see it as the client side and the server side. So basically, the client side of a website is the part of the website that can be viewed in your browser. Simple as that. So the whole pictures, like this whole stuff we're seeing, is the client side of our website. So this is just looking nice for us to be able to understand what the website is all about. So, and that part of the website is built with these three languages: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And these three languages have their specific uses. So the HTML basically works for the structure of the website. So in structure, in what sense? Now, basically, this whole website has some components or elements that are on it that make up the structure. So we have the text, we have the image. What else? Text, image. Basically, that's all. The icon, it's a link also. So that's just basically what defines the structure. So I always refer HTML and CSS and JavaScript to, if we look at the human body, the bone is otherwise known in this case as the HTML, because it gives the whole structure of the whole body, like the shape of the body is designed by the body, while the skin, our skin color and the whole skin itself is the CSS. So the CSS makes us look beautiful. So the CSS works for the presentation of a website, and for JavaScript for the behavior. So our muscles that control our fingers, because the bones don't actually control themselves, it's the muscles that control the bone. So that's the same thing. The JavaScript controls the HTML. The HTML doesn't really have to do much, but the JavaScript can help it to do that. So JavaScript controls the behavior of a website. So if you want to perform some action, so if you want, there's not really anything much on JavaScript on this particular page, but there are some other use cases of JavaScript whereby if you want to click, when someone clicks on this button, well, what should happen, all those kind of stuff can be done with JavaScript. Now, that's just for the client side. Now, for the server side, which is also known as the back end, we have some languages that are written here. So basically, let me explain what the server side is. The server side is where we have the database and other logic that run behind the website. So things like your login, logout, all those, saving files to the database, getting files from the database, saving anything you are doing on the website. So for like Facebook, when you chat and when you send a message, the backend is actually the one that gets that message and saves it in database and sends it to whoever you want to send a message to. So there are so many languages that can be used to build the backend of a website. So I have C#, Python, Java. There are so many other languages out there, but I prefer to use C# because I'm more familiar to using C#, and it has a wonderful framework called .NET Framework that helps me to build all this easily. So all these languages can be used to build the backend of a website. So they're actual programming languages. HTML, CSS. HTML is just a markup language. CSS is for styling, and JavaScript is also a programming language. But JavaScript and Java are not the same language because there's a lot of misconception about Java and JavaScript. People think JavaScript was from Java or Java was from JavaScript, wherever, which ways. But both of them are two different types of languages. They are not similar on any level. And also you have SQL, or which is otherwise pronounced as SQL, which handles everything with the database. So it's called, the meaning of SQL is structured query language. So what it does is to help us easily query data from our database. So that's to get files from our database. That's basically what SQL does for us. And you might see some other there's so many databases out there. You have MySQL, MS SQL, MongoDB, and so many other types out there, but you just don't need to bother yourself too much about that. But for now, we'll still just want to understand how websites work. So basically, if I will go over everything we just said, every website loads from a server, which is a computer somewhere in the world, and whatever is loaded from the web server that is displayed in our browser is the front end of our website. So the other part that involves the database and every other logic that runs in the background of the website are all handled by the back end of the website, which is the server side of the website. So languages that we can use to build the front end of our website: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And languages that can be used to build the back end of our website involve C#, Python, SQL or SQL, and even JavaScript, because recently Node.js was created and we can use that to build the whole server side of our website. And that's basically all it is. And if you have any question, you can just drop it in the classroom. And also, if you think there's any other thing I didn't add to this video that you think that needs to be added, you can just send me a message, and I would definitely work on that for the next video. Thank you very much and have a nice day.